Supervisor Holly Mitchell.
Give yourselves a round of applause. That's amazing. Chief Maroni, I started my morning with the other hardest working county department, Public Works, along La Brea, making sure those parks were just right. And it's amazing that we were able to have today's ceremony before the rain began. So we're very, very fortunate. But to come around the corner and see these amazing fire engines and the ladders and that flag, it really took my breath away. So I hope everyone is really going to pause for a moment and take in the significance of today's ceremony. You know, the opening remarks reminded me, I'm a third generation Native Angelino. So like most Black Angelinos, I have family members that did what? Work for LA County, right? My parents actually met as eligibility workers working for the Department of Public Social Service.
All right.
And when I hear those stories, when I think about the over 112,000 employees that currently work for LA County, it's really striking to me to think that it's within my very own lifetime when African Americans weren't often welcome, didn't have a presence as employees working for now the most diverse county in the nation. But that's our truth and our reality. And so it's for those reasons and many more that it gives me great pride to sit on that dais every Tuesday and to have the privilege and the honor to carry on motion to rename a fire station in our community for a courageous leader who was a member of the county family when it wasn't perhaps as easy as it is today. And so it gives me great pride to share in today's ceremony, meet family members, and be with them. When I walked in, Chief Maroni said, "If you've been to the fire station 15 before," I was like, "Chief Maroni, come on." You know, A, I'm a Native Angelino. B, you know, I'm a Jack and Jill mom, so we came out over here and brought all the little Jack and Jill kids. Everybody wanted to, you know, my son wanted to be the Tillerman, you know. So yes, this is not my first time to Fire Station 58. But it is my absolute honor to be here today in honor of Assistant Fire Chief Clady, a true trailblazer in not only fire service, but certainly here in Los Angeles County. So I really want to give my heartfelt thanks to the Centurions and to all of the LA County Fire family who continue every day on our behalf to run towards there, to make sure that all of us as residents of LA County are safe each and every day. Chief Maroni, I want to thank you for your leadership in making today happen, and thank you for being an active partner with me as we work every day to make sure that LA County continues to be an anti-racist space. My team and I have an event we host every month called Racial Justice Learning Exchange, and Chief Maroni has been a partner in multiple experience in figuring out how we can make sure that the county level of government is at the forefront of building the kind of LA County we can all be proud of. I also want to recognize my first chief for joining the board in 2020, Chief Osby, and remember a story we told when we stood on the land owned by the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach. And you told a very moving story and educated me about your own father, who was a firefighter. How you grew up thinking that every firefighter thought their only due to work every day. But as you soon learned, why we have to do that. And again, we are hoping to build an LA County and certainly the LA County Fire Department that lives and presents differently in that very painful agency. Chief Clady was committed to change and shifting the trajectory of the LA County Fire Service toward promoting diversity, belonging, inclusion, and fighting for equal rights for women and people of color in the department. He was among the early wave of firefighters who sought to create a workforce that mirrored the communities he served. So I want to give a shout out to the members of the first all-black fire crew who were pioneers and paved the way for generations to come. In addition to Captain Clady, Engineer John Bailey, firefighter paramedic John Matthews Sr., and firefighter Curtis Fidel. Please give them all a round of applause. You have heard and will hear more about Assistant Chief Clady's history, was promoted to battalion chief and assistant fire chief, and all along, he was a vocal and instrumental member and later president of the LA County Stentorians. Historically, far too many black firefighters have had to think twice about recommending fire service to their very own children, wondering if they should expose their children to an environment where they will have to not only fight fires, but also fight to belong and be included every day. And so today, we join together to honor Assistant Chief Clady's legacy, but it's my sincere hope that everyone present and those viewing at home will renew our own commitment to diversity and equity in the LA County Fire Service. And I am certain that Chief Clady, who was one of only 7 black firefighters in the department when he joined the ranks in 1969, endured and overcame similar instances of discrimination and humiliation on his path to becoming an assistant fire chief. We are proud to acknowledge the fact that he spent most of his career fighting for equal rights for women, and that he became the first black firefighter to promote to the rank of engineer in 75, and then the first black fire captain in 77. You all know that he retired after 32 years of dedicated and faithful service to the department. And those 3 decades of service were more than just about helping the communities and residents in his care. They were about breaking barriers, achieving personal victories, and setting a very high bar. Chief Clady left us at the age of 81, but he enriched the department and paved the way for many others who followed in his footsteps. It is my honor to have carried the motion declaring the station in his name, and I have to tell you, it was a unanimous vote, all 5.
That's what's up.
Let me say, the all 5 female members of the LA County Board of Education.
That's what's up.
You are proud to join me in casting that vote. Again, it's my honor to share this experience with you all today, and it's also my honor to present to you LA County's current fire chief, Chief Tony Maloney.
I thought it was Tony Maroney. I thought it was Tony Maroney.
So good morning and welcome to LA County.
She said Ronald. No, it's Tony Maroney, right? Look at that free man right there.
Of Ladera Heights in Supervisory District 2. Today is an amazing day to honor the life of the late, the great Assistant Fire Chief Richard Clady. Today we pay tribute to Chief Clady, his many accomplishments, and the legacy that he left behind as one of County Fire's most influential and courageous trailblazers. Before I continue with my remarks, I would like to welcome the Clady family, including Chief Clady's wife, Deborah, affectionately known as Bee. Chief Clady's first wife and the mother of his children, Bernice. His beautiful daughters, Cassandra and Chandra, and his son, Bishop Clady II. I would also like to extend my appreciation and heartfelt gratitude to Supervisor Mitchell for her leadership and support of the fire department. Supervisor Mitchell's unwavering support has made this day a reality. So thank you very much, Supervisor. I also want to thank retired Fire Chief Darrell Osby, with his father Robert Osby, who is also a retired Fire Chief, for joining us today. It was 13 years ago today that Chief Osby was sworn in as the 9th Forester and Fire Warden and the first black fire chief in our department's 100-year history. Thank you, Chief. To the Los Angeles County Stentorians, President Johnny Gray, my longtime friend, retired Fire Captain Brent Burton, who is the historian of the African American Fire Force Museum, to retired Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Chief David Washington, and retired Assistant Fire Chief Dan Scott. Thank you for being here today and being part of this ceremony. Chief Clady was a true hero. He was a catalyst for change, a mentor to many, and recognized for valuing the success of others over his own aspirations. Today we are reminded of his selflessness, bravery, passion, and resilience. When I say Chief Clady was a trailblazer, he was that and so much more. From his time in the Air Force and throughout his 31-year career with County Fire, he flourished by beating the odds and made history-making promotions. Chief Clady joined the County of Los Angeles in 1969. He was one of only 7 black firefighters on the department at that time.
The original Magnificent Seven.
The first black firefighter promoted
Why that
to
happened.
firefighter
You know why.
specialist in 1976, and he was the first black fire captain ever promoted in 1977. And just for a point of reference, that was only 47 years ago. That's very recent. So among the many assignments Chief Clady held during his tenure, his second assignment as fire captain was here at Fire Station 58, where his leadership skills were honed and proven, and where he led the first all-black firefighting force. He faced each day with a commitment to serve the community, while he and the crew protected the lives and the property of residents of his community. But his journey did not stop there. Chief Clady continued to excel, promoted to battalion chief in 1987 and assistant fire chief in 1993. He also served as president of the Stentorians and continued his service as an instructor at the prestigious Carl Holmes Executive Development Institute, also known as EDI. Throughout the years, many of us have borne witness to Chief Clady's outstanding service and leadership qualities that still resonate with all of us today. He is highly regarded as the department's champion of change and an ambassador for issues involving race, equity, and professionalism. He fought for equal rights for people of color and women, and he recognized the importance of advocating for justice, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and access. Station 58 has relevance and was referred to as Clady's Station. This station was the home to a training center for hundreds of firefighters across the fire service organizations and various agencies. Fire Station 58 is a staple in this community and has a historical connection that creates pride for many of our members. In the presence of the Clady family, Supervisor Mitchell, Fire Chief Osby, colleagues and friends, we officially honor and dedicate Fire Station 58 as the official Clady Memorial Fire Station. This day serves as a testament. This day serves as a testament, ensuring Assistant Fire Chief Herschel Clady's memory and legacy will continue to inspire and guide us and those in the future. We appreciate all of you who have joined us today, and we welcome you here at Clady's Station. Thank you, and I would now like to invite up my fire chief, Darrell Osby, the 9th Forester and Fire Warden.
Chief looking good, man. Your retirement looks good, don't you?
Good morning.
I'm actually a little bit nervous. I'm sitting in this front row and see Clady still staring at me. I got his name above me. But I want to thank the supervisor, the fire chief, and the Centurion president for allowing me to speak today. And also, I know you'll hear from the speaker later, Dan Scott, wherever Dan is. I'm going to thank him. Because actually, this was his idea before I retired to dedicate this fire station to Chief Clady. I'm honored to be here today as part of this historic dedication ceremony for Chief Clady. For those that knew him, he was a courageous warrior. Courageous in the reflection of always doing what was right. He was always focused on the betterment of the fire service and gallantly stood for what was right, sometimes against extreme odds. But he always kept the good from. And during speaking, I don't always read from notes, but I was given a time frame, so I'm not going to be Clady-like today. Because those that knew him knew that he was never afraid of a micro-coding. But anyway, just a brief history of the Clady and Osby family. We go way back to San Diego. We've known one another for over 50 years. And we have deep roots. As a child, it wasn't Chief Clady to me, it was Mr. Clady. And it was not uncommon for me to be up here at his house here in Inglewood or him in our house in San Diego, where my dad, who we've heard is also in the fire service, talk about racism, discrimination, and disparate and exclusionary tactics in the fire service. They always had a focus of what can we do to help our plight, and what we did to help our plight was good for everyone. However, don't be in that room when there was a disagreement of approach. I have never seen two men argue to the point to where they probably should have fought and thrown fist punches, but didn't. And after the debates, they always departed as friends, like they were best friends. I was recently talking to my father at his house, and he was showing me a picture of him and Medea, Herschel's mother, that she was so eloquently known as. And one day, my dad said, she came to my dad and said, "Robert, why do you argue with Herschel? You know he's hard-headed." But I've learned that throughout my life, in certain situations, you have to be best friends. I can't even imagine him fighting this fight. Many instances, and sometimes by himself, that we didn't always talk about. But he always stood up for his goals. He was relentless in his pursuit of doing what was right. He was always trying to make this department and the fire service as a whole better. I am a product of Chief Clady's legacy. My parents used to live down the street in 58th District, by the way, so I'm about to tell the story. So he drove the fire truck to my parents' house with an application. He said, "You're going to apply to become a firefighter." And I said, no, Mr. Clady, I mean, why would I want to be a firefighter? Why would I want to endure what you went through? But then Captain Clady, and those, I see people in this audience that work with Captain Clady, no was never an appropriate response. So he stayed there until I filled out the application and told me that you're going to test, you're going to get in the department, and if you don't like it, you can quit. And the rest is history. When I got into the department and I worked at several stations, I was somewhat quiet. And I had people tell me, well, you know, Osby, you're good. You're quiet, you can fit in. They didn't realize the relationship I had with Chief Clady. I was quiet because I was trying to get through probation. But once I had an opportunity of going through paramedic training, I couldn't wait to work at Fire Station 58 here when Chief Clady was still the captain. It was an amazing experience to see his leadership, to see him strategize, to talk about how we can continuously improve this organization, to connect with this community, and continuously push people to be the best they could. As our careers progressed, and I met 50 years, we later crossed paths. But one thing, rest assured, that wherever you cross Chief Clady's path, you better be correct, you better be professional, you better be in uniform, and you better always do the right thing. Not only did he fight the fight, but he had extremely high expectations of himself and others. When Chief Clady retired, he would often say that I worked here for 32 years. And I wish I could enjoy retirement as long as I worked. But as we know, he never truly retired. It was not uncommon for him to call me. It was not uncommon for him to call me and ask me what's going on and what projects can I volunteer to do. And I just said, no, Chief Clady, you're retired now, I got this. And I tried to say that, not that I didn't need help, but I was trying to protect him and help him get to that 32-year objective of retirement. So one day, I got a true understanding of the Clady family and who Chief Clady truly was. I sat down and I was having a conversation with one of his brothers. And his brother told me that, you know, my dad, when he worked into perpetuity. Do you know what that means, young man? And at that time, I didn't have a smartphone, so I didn't know how to spell it. And so I said, no. And he said, well, you know, my father was a contractor. He did residential and commercial projects. And back then, contractors didn't get paid until the projects were done. So my father worked from can't see to can't see until the work was done. And that gave me a true indication of Herschel Clady and his commitment of continuously asking for projects and working until the work is done. There's two people in my career that always call me, and when they call me, there was an issue, and what are you doing about it, Osby? One was Chief Clady, and I saw the other person out in the audience, Marshall Hoffman. And fortunately, and Chief Money would know this, when I finally got to fire chief, I said, good, I got a secretary, I have to block their calls. I got a claim number that they don't know. And one day I was sitting in my office and my private phone rang, and I picked up the phone, and it was Chief Clady. He said, hey, we gotta talk. I said, well, how did you get this number? Don't worry about that right now, we gotta talk. And I said, well, you know, I'm busy right now. Well, when can we talk? We gotta talk. And he continuously, throughout his retirement, routinely called me about what are your expectations and what are your recruitment strategies. I recently saw a recruitment graduation, and what's going to have diversity up there? There were some promotional processes I saw, and you didn't have enough women and people of color. What are you doing? And not only did he ask me those questions after he allowed me an opportunity to answer them, what can I do to help? Because he was still committed. In conclusion, I will say this. Today, we are here to unveil this station in Chief Clady's name. And as stated earlier, I want us all to think about his legacy. Look at this picture. Look at that name. think about his commitment to not only better himself, providing opportunities for us, but what it meant to be around Herschel Clady. And as we have that renewed commitment as it relates to his cause, may we continue to work into perpetuity to continue this legacy. Thank you. Next, I would like to bring to the podium the President of the Centurions, President Johnny Gray III. Great.
Good morning. My name is Johnny Gray. I'm a firefighter paramedic, and I'm representing the Los Angeles County Centurion organization. Thank you, Supervisor Mitchell, for this day. Thank you, Chief Maloney. Thank you, Chief Osby. And I will be remiss if I did not honor and respect the past presidents that are in the house today. So, past president of the County Centurion, Dan Scott. Wherever you are, thank you. Past President Chief Osby, Past President Brent Burton, and immediate Past President Deputy Chief Robert Harris. And I want to thank those guys because without them, most of us, we're not in the station, but in this station, would not be here today. And most of them would not be here today if it wasn't for this man right here.
That's right.
Chief Clady. Chief Dan Scott and I met at Fat Burger in Carson, actually Five Guys in Carson in 2017. He had this paper and this idea that, hey, we should rename the station 58 for Chief Clady. And I said, I have no idea how to do that. He got the ball rolling. Chief Dan Scott, wherever you are, thank you very much for your idea. Deputy Chief Robert Harris, thank you very much for implementing and completing the project with the help of Chief Osby, Chief Maloney, and Supervisor Mitchell. It's a team effort. And for all those out there that also got the signatures in the meetings to make this happen, thank you all. I'd also like to say, by raising hands, by a show of hands out there, who was directly touched by Chief Clady in his fire department, please? Let's take a look. These are all firefighters that were either on the job, out of job, civilian, or non-civilian. They're all touched. Really, that's Chief Clady there. Those groups that are now on this job were also touched by him. I never worked for Chief Clady. However, without him doing what he did, I would not be here. All the years were mentioned. 1975, he promoted. First promotion from a black man in the history of this department is a Red Black Women Department. The department was 52 years old. I repeat, LA County Fire Department was created in 1923. Yet the first black man to promote to anything was this man in 1975. And the department was 52 years of age. And Chief Maloney did say, a little too long ago, when he was retired, which was 47 years ago. Or was the chief 47 years ago. So with that being said, this department was a little late as it relates to the inclusion and the diversity and equity of what LA County looked like. Some of you guys may ask, what is a stentorian? Well, the root word stentor is a powerful voice. That's what it means. And there was no voice more powerful than that man right there, the Chief Clady. So if that is Chief Clady, you guys probably know better than anyone how powerful his voice was. And there's a lot of firefighters that are not here today, but there are across the country that are also touched by Chief Clady as well. And with that being said, this department, this station right here, was the hub for the training. My first time ever training was with the alumni of this fire station back in 2010. There are a lot of people in this place right now that they came here, regardless of race, regardless of gender, they came here to get training because that is what the station did. And you know who started that? That man right there. And it still goes on to this day in 2024. So for those firefighters out there that may have 1 year, 2 year, 30 years on, just remember, you guys have that badge, you're wearing that uniform because of your predecessors. So with that being said, First Clady, Chief Clady, he reached back and grabbed others to change the course of their life. So do not become complacent. Do not say, as we say in fire service, be IGMers, I got mine. There's little kids out there that have no idea about this service, and they would love to learn about the service from people that look like them. Supervisor Mitchell mentioned the Jack and Jill. My wife also was part of the Jack and Jill club. So it's very important. My kids went to school across the street there at Knox Presbyterian. The station is a staple in this community. A staple. So it is an honor, and I am very delighted that this day is here. And I want to thank all you guys for coming, for enjoying this dedication. And just know that this is dear to the community's heart. I still live in this community. So every time we drive by this station now and we see this man's name, I'm going to continue to do this because he's the one that did all of this. I'd like to end with Dan, Chief Scott. I'm going to share the story. I was not supposed to tell Chief Clady about the dedication. But we went to breakfast, and I got excited because the ball was rolling. And this was prior to COVID. And I said, yeah, Chief Clady, there's a lot that we want to do, man. And you know, we'll be a station dedicated after you. And Dan kicked me. And I said, oh, that's right. Well, the cat's out the bag now. Chief Clady, there'll be a station dedicated after you. And COVID happened. And then Chief Clady became chief. My first meeting with him the week of his new job, that was the first thing on his list, was to finish the job of dedicating the station. And it was important that we did it during Black History Month. It was just a coincidence. That it happened the same day that Chief Osby was also honored 13 years ago. So that was a coincidence. And lastly, with the executive staff, executive board, this confirming, we have Captain Charles, Captain Patterson, Captain Jackson, we have retired Khalid Ruzma, retired Glenn Smith, if you're in the building, retired Andrew Evans, and retired Dan Scott. Thank you guys very much. And we also have Camilla Manning, our executive director, for putting this on. So with that being said, I'd like to bring up my Jigna, Christian's mentor, retired Captain Brent Burton.
Good morning, good morning. Indeed, it is an honor to be in community here with everyone for this monumental occasion of naming Fire Station 58 Quadra Brother Herschel Clady. I bring you greetings on behalf of the African American Firefighting Museum, our president, Michelle Banks, our board of directors. The museum is an independent nonprofit museum that shares a national story. The museum is also open to collaborative partnerships across industries and geographically beyond Los Angeles. Our mission is to collect, conserve, and share the history of African American firefighters through